or the director or the coordinator of the American corner would have a word from the Denis Miki Foundation, and the boss herself is here, Emily Miki. Please let's snap our fingers for her.
Hi everyone, good morning, or is it afternoon already? Good afternoon. Hi.
Hi.
Okay, it's a pleasure to be here and to see all our bright faces. And it's also an amazing honor for us at the Denis Miki Foundation to work alongside Ulanda, who happens to not just be a star, but one of my sisters from Sacred Days. And as we join forces to fight and end gender-based violence, not only in Cameroon, but across the world, because one thing we will know is this song has gone beyond Cameroon, and we can see that the impact is amazing. When you know that work is amazing, it's when you have stones thrown at you because of what you're doing. I know that for a very long time, my work as a feminist or a gender advocate has brought a lot of insults to me personally, even on social media. I've had a lot of the people I mentor, young girls, when they start seeing them with Denis Miki Foundation or with me, Emily Miki, get questions like, oh, you're with Emily, you don't want to get married? Why with that girl that doesn't believe that girls should be humble or girls should make, like in relationships and all of that, yeah. But it's important that we speak against this because we are aware of the number of deaths that are recorded, the number of cases, like even when I posted this early this morning, one of my mentees, I think I met this young girl back around June, July, before I made a trip. I did a 1 hour session with them for the video classes, and that's how I met her. And literally her comment on my post today was, what if someone is touching your breast and reaching right on your private part? Is it violence? So imagine how long she may have been suffering from this and not knowing that it's violence that is perpetrated over her. What if it had gone to rape? Others have been raped and died before. Others are being killed for basic things that's just bad. We have kids, we have brothers, we have sisters. It's not only affecting girls and women, it's affecting even men. And this is something that we need to debunk and we have to speak against. So we are happy to be working in collaboration with Ulanda and other Cameroonian influencers like Aunty Feli, who is in the building, Caro, who is in the building, Smarty Ashu, who is in the building, and of course DIBENJA. I haven't seen DIBENJA in years, like today was wow. I remember the last time we met, we were working on a film. Yeah, and we have one that has been pending around, working that project. We will produce that movie and make it the millions. Yeah. So that said, you're all welcome, and thank you so much to American Corner for hosting us, especially for me being a Mandela Fellow. It's a pleasure to be back here. I've hosted events here before, and also being an Obama leader. In fact, I say I'm Uncle Obama's niece. Yeah. I had the pleasure of meeting him in 2018, and I met him again in November. So it's a pleasure to be here to benefit from these offers that the American government is making available for us as Cameroonians. Thank you.
Okay, right now we have the coordinator of the American Corner, who doubles as director of the Library University of Buea. We are going to welcome Professor Rosemary Shafa to Chancellor of the
Princes and princesses. That's how we refer to our participants to our programs, because without you, there will be no program. So we're really happy to have you here, and we are always very humbled when we have this partnership, because the American Corner is a platform. It's not a place, it's a platform where many activities take place, like this beautiful one that is taking place now. Yes, we have been running a 16 days activism on gender-based violence. This is not the only program we have organized on that, but we are happy that we can organize as many programs on this very critical theme as much as possible. And so we are really elated to have all of you here. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your passion and your generosity in sharing, beautiful knowledge and skills about things that touch the community. No one knows it all. Even if you have been listening to the same thing, keep listening when you hear that the same thing is coming up, because you see different ways of doing the same thing. You'll see different ways of presenting. You even have new ideas. There is no one who learns it all. We keep learning until we transit from this world. So I want to welcome all of you and thank you very much for creating the time to be here. You are not here because you don't have things to do. But I'm glad that there are people who know that this topic, this theme is very vital. And the people who have the experience are right here with you. When they will talk, you'll know that you didn't make an error to choose this program.
Hello everybody. Hello. My name is Ulanda, aka Mama Makosa. I am a Cameroonian artist, as you're aware. I grew up in Mbeng. I was born in Mbeng and I grew up in Mbeng. And the reason I'm called Mama Makosa is because Makosa was the first music that I heard. And the first music, I had a happy childhood, so Makosa to me is home, it's happiness, it's love. Of course, the song of Mari is not exactly Makosa, it has a Makosa string, but some say it's not because see, that's a rumor. Anyways, so that's who I am, and I'm a singer-songwriter, I'm a conscious singer. I believe that I am a community builder. I only care to make music that does something for your soul. If it has no impact, if it doesn't make you happy or makes you think, then I don't want to sing it. So all of my songs are empowered by Marie, but I think this one in particular touched people in a special way because there are a lot of people who are going through this issue of domestic violence, who have experienced it. And the difference for me is that over there in the US, what I know and see to be true is that it is heavily persecuted. If you hit a woman in the US, you're done. Like your life is over. There's no second chances. Most jobs wouldn't even hire you because the reason you went to jail was domestic violence. It's that serious. But in Cameroon, all my life, even with my own personal experience, it has been talk less. I even post now. I post TikToks that I have duetted on this song, and I have comments on my YouTube right now that say, if only she had a better attitude. Even nobody talk, like they actually comment that. I posted a video of a woman who her head is sewn. I don't know if somebody saw that video, and I have a comment right there that says she probably has bad manners, that's why. So it's a very normal thing in Cameroon to be told that you should talk less. Even the police will tell you to talk less. It's like you talk too much, madam, maybe that's why. And then nothing happens to that man unless you're there. If you're there, then probably your family and everybody will show up, and then maybe they will lock him up. Otherwise, yeah, you can go back there, you can do what you want, nobody's arresting you. So some of us have been in abusive relationship, we don't even know that's abusive. But there's emotional abuse. Mine that I've been in, I'll tell you honestly, I think I've had one situation that has turned physical. Maybe once or twice, yeah. But it's been mostly emotional. They will start by, usually when it even gets to that level where it's so physical, it starts by emotional. It starts emotionally telling you that, just putting down everything you do. Have you ever had that person that is always like, yeah, always trying to control what you do, or whatever you do is never good enough? And then on top of that, especially for women in Africa and Cameroon especially, they move on from there to financial. They start controlling their finances, like everything at home, you don't have a say, no work, you don't have anything on your own. So I'm so elated to partner with her. When I first as well started promoting my Marie the audio, I went to Aunty Felicia. You guys know Kwoh Elonge. Everybody knows Aunty Felicia. And he told me that, do you have a story behind this song? I said, yes, I have my own story. He said, no, do you have a story? When they asked you, get to be able to talk, can you speak to this song? And I said, yes. So And then he told me, you need to take it further than just doing the skits. You need to take it, do you actually want to make an impact? Those are the questions he asked me. And I said, yes, I want to make an impact. That's why I sing. I don't just sing. And I sat there attentively. As you can see, I was very like, tell me. Because he brought up the round table. This whole thing is pretty much your idea. You give props here. Yeah, that's pretty much his idea. He brought up the round table and said, you should bring people together and have a conversation. And in that conversation you put out there, you don't know who will watch it. Like, just like the song, I didn't know that there were people who were going to tell me that because of you, I'm packing my bags. Yeah. Because of this song. So, thank you for that. And then I'm even more honored that you honored the invitation to show up here and be a part of this. And as well, I don't know who has not seen Caro copy skit for this song, but many people cried on that skit. Many people. And then the fact that she's also here, so this is a big deal. And Smarty, who did the whole cover for me, and that's my boy, man.
Oh, listen, let's clap for Ulanda again. It's beautiful work. It's not easy. I had a lot to say, but Ulanda used all the time, so I'm just going to introduce the panelists. So what I'll do is I'll just call all the panelists to come join us, and they will do their introduction. They'll tell
Mama, no fit tell you, say I go never. Papa, no fit tell you, say.
Everybody, it's an honor for me to be here today to talk about something that, as Ulanda and DIBENJA have said, is plaguing our society today and has been for a long time. I am happy that conversations are beginning to happen around this. My name is Smart Achu. I am a content creator, singer-songwriter, YouTuber, wow, just an entertainment all-rounder. And when I received the call, I was surprised, but I was also very happy and excited to be able to contribute to something like this. And hopefully the conversations that we'll have will go a long way to change and help people to be aware and take conscious decisions, to have discussions around this and actions that it will not just remain on the surface about us talking and talking, but people can start living, mentalities can start changing, and I'm just really excited to be here.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Dr. Kwoh, Elonge. Smarty has said everything I wanted to say, so I'm a writer, researcher, and comedian.
Hello everyone, I'm called Adamma, and I am a child and environmental activist and advocate. The founder of the non-profit Aura Foundation, which is a child-based organization, also very environmental friendly. And what we do is we provide better options through talent and skills for children, thereby bettering the family. But like we say, you cannot empower the child without empowering the family, because where are you going to take the child to? Yeah. And that's why I was very touched by this particular assembly, because all what the parents do, all the violence going on, guess who is most affected? The child. So that's why I'm here, to listen, to learn, and also to share my opinions. Thank you.
Okay, I think I was introduced earlier and I spoke earlier. Just to say another, I'm Emily Miki, founder and CEO of Denis Miki Foundation. Denis Miki Foundation is a non-profit I named after my late dad, who died when I was 14, and it works to empower women and girls, vulnerable communities. We've been existed since 2014, 2015. Sometimes when I'm asked and then I check, I'm like, oh, it's been this long. Yeah. So it started like a dream after I did my master's at URIC, based on my passion to support women and girls and based on my life story. After I lost my dad that young, so I really am committed to community development, empowerment. I am a mentor to many. I'm a consultant, an international consultant, and international development expert. So it's a pleasure to work with my friends. I know that I've seen videos of some of them on the panels, but it's good to meet in person and connect in person and see how we can work together. Because one of the goals we are looking at for this activity is not just to end here, like we said, Ulanda, but to do it more often and do it also with other stakeholders, which is why some of the people we invited are also from other non-profit organizations. We are seeking partners that can help us get this out there because it's really happening. We are witnessing and we are victims. I cannot share how many times I've been victims to these kind of situations, as well as a care provider or a service provider. So it's heartbreaking. Like even when the song was playing, I almost was crying because I thought of all those who have lost their lives. And I thought of those who may have lost their lives. And I then thought that a few days ago, coming back from the US, I almost was in a place where I almost lost my life. And I'm like, oh wow, life is that short. Yeah, so it can happen to any of us. Where we all are going through things. So this is a safe space for us to speak freely, because we may be seen in the public as strong and very tough, but nobody knows what we're going through. If we don't create spaces like this, where together we can talk and share our stories and support each other. Thank you.
Hello everybody, this is Ulanda.
Hello everybody. My name is Mbeng Lilian, aka Caro, comedian, brand influencer. It's an honor for me to be seated among these very great women and men to talk about this very sensitive topic, which is like a plague that has infected our society. And most of the times we avoid talking about these things, but deep down, in our enclosed spaces, we cry, we wish to talk about these things, but we don't have the guts to talk about them. So I feel very honored to be among these people who will be tackling one of these dangers that has infected our society. So thank you guys very much for having me.
Good day everyone. I'm Madame Zingwa Nikulima. I am an accessory designer. I am a gender advocate and a community developer. I am particularly grateful because years before, this used to be the business of Women Empowerment Center and the gender department. So seeing our top artists in the country getting involved, I am so excited and elated. Thank you very much.
Okay, let's go right about it. I'm supposed to talk for myself too.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Hello everybody, my name is DIBENJA. I'm a TV presenter, producer, content creator, and doctor. All right, let's get down to it. So, Dr. Kwoh, I'll start with you. What are some of the common misconceptions about gender-based violence?
Everybody is so, I went to say fashion. Now I see people clearly. So buy glasses, you don't see people. All right, okay. It will not be DIBENJA if he did not put me on the spot. Once more, I'm very happy to be here. Just the intros themselves, it feels like a learning experience for me. Yeah, first of all, congratulations, Miki. I've been dying to tell you that on the work you've been doing.
Thank you.
So congrats on that. And Yolanda, congrats for mustering the courage too, because I know that in doing this, in many ways you have to share parts of you that otherwise you would not want to do. And Ada for being a strong support system throughout this. Smarty as a victim of domestic violence. Okay, so I said that to get the point, that men too are victims of domestic violence, and it's always met with the reaction of people laughing.
Oh, yes. Yeah, we should.
Yeah, right? So, but I think that a key misconception is that ultimately that's easy for people who are victims of domestic violence to leave. Yeah. That the decision is as easy as just saying pack your things and leave. And people never see what you've built, the mental picture of a future that you've built that makes it difficult for you to cut. People don't always see some of the pressures that you have. Sometimes, I remember I had an aunt who was going through hell. And when we talk to her, she'll say, make her go live my beginning of a womb. So it is first of all that. Then the other thing is that our society has kind of a pseudo-respectability attached to marriage, where it feels like the woman is not enough if she is single. And even worse, if she divorces or leaves her marriage, it feels like a personal failure. Like you must have done something wrong. It's always you who is the problem. After all, you're not the only victim of domestic violence and others have stuck it. So I think that the misconceptions are so many. But I think what I was trying to highlight are the ones that people really do not go deep into the picture. There is the misconception of you must have provoked the person who perpetrates the violence. In some way, you must have been saying something. You must have done something to get the person there. Especially if, I remember I'd been a victim, not of violence, but of thinking that it was impossible for somebody to be violent to his girlfriend because he was not a violent person to his friends. So I went to SASE, and we have a culture of actually no violence. So you know you have an ecosystem of friends, and you guys share the same value system, and you're like, you guys don't even fight among yourselves. You can have heated, spirited arguments, but it never gets physical. And even the words that I use are never harsh enough where it can feel like emotional abuse. And then someday, this girl says, my friend, pizza. And in my head is, what must she have done to push a guy who is this mellow? We're calling him shock absorber. He's the person who will take everything and just laugh. What must she have done? A woman will be told that she has to cook the food, but there are particular parts that she cannot taste. Like, so these are things within culture in an environment. Then if you even look at even workplace culture, where women have to aspire to be nurses, men doctors, so within the medical field, that you can be a midwife, but you can't be a surgeon. You can be this, but you should aspire to be that. These are all cultural elements in our society. That how many women do you see them in STEM? In the sense, it's in AI and all of that. It's not because they don't want to do it.
What are some of the ways that we can protect children in cases where there's domestic violence? Because most often you see kids having these terrible behaviors among their peers and all that. So even if the mom leaves, even if the mom stays, but how can we protect children from that trauma of domestic violence?
Thank you for giving me something I can actually answer. Because for a moment I was scared. Give you some psychological stuff I feel like. So first of all, I would like to say there's this word trending now, trauma. 4 years ago I didn't hear it a lot, but trauma. And one of the myths we have with gender-based violence is that if it did not happen in front of the child, it does not affect the child. It's a lie. It's actually a myth. The fact is, a child can feel the environment, the tension in the air. So when you talk about the father beating the woman and how to protect the child, there's no way to protect the child. To empower and protect the child, you have to empower and protect the family. Yeah. Imagine a mother with a black eye explaining to her child that I fell down the stairs, like my auntie used to say. And then that child, what you're teaching the child is how to defend her abuser tomorrow. Because she saw you, she heard you. You think she's naive? No, she's not. What the father is doing is teaching the son how to handle his woman tomorrow. So we live in an environment that is like people with trauma raising more people with trauma for a future full of, like a vicious cycle. And to be able to empower the child, the woman needs to be aware of her rights and the implications of abuse on her and her child. The father, I remember someone said, it was on the internet, saying you're teaching women how to protect themselves from abuse. The men, you're asking a man what he can do to protect them. Let's just stop abusing women and they'll not need to defend themselves. You know? As easy as that. Let's just stop abusing women, and there will be no need for them to protect themselves from abuse. So to be able to empower a child, you have to empower the woman. There is no shortcut. The woman needs to learn that what she's doing is impacting her child, and the man needs to understand that you're teaching our sons of tomorrow how to treat women.
Yeah. So, I'm Colin. As a community leader, someone who works in the community directly, what are some of the ways you think that we can educate women, we can educate the community effectively about gender-based violence?
Thank you. Okay, with my experience working with the community, I think one of the ways in which we can help women out of this gender madness is empowering them, taking away that mindset that they need to tolerate, like we earlier said. Because most women remain in abusive relationships because they think it's a culture. When you run back to your mother, she tells you that's how men are. What does that tell a woman? It means there is no better home out there. So just stay and condone with it. Now the second thing I would like to say is those of us advocating. I think we have a lot of misconception out there because people don't understand the concept of gender-based violence. I bet you there are people even in this university community who don't see the need for us sitting here and discussing things like this. I take, for example, the other day we were doing a campus war campaign on gender-based violence with the Richards Foundation. And when I get to the office to collect my transcript, one of my lecturers asked me what we were doing, and I explained to him. He said, do I think this is a good place for us to do this? I said, yes, sir. Say, what are the kind of violence, the forms of violence that take place in the university? I said, man, he said, sexual harassment most especially. And he was just, he got aggressive and started saying that he thinks a lot of violent acts are going on in the rural areas, and we are concentrating with university students who understand what gender-based violence is. I said, sir, please permit me. One of the geography students who were moving with us was completely blank about what gender-based violence is. So most of the times we think we know these things. Even those of us who want to join in the advocacy, we go out saying the wrong things. It will shock you to know that advocates, people who call themselves gender advocates, still go out in public and say that women are being raped because of indecent dressing. We see this year after years. People keep doing this. And this is because they don't have a good mastery of the concept. So I think if we should combat gender-based violence in our community, we should first of all have a good mastery of what gender-based violence is.
Just for clarity and just for context, is context I was supposed to say? Just for clarity. let's keep our answers or response really precise, and because violence, it's a very broad topic. That if you were supposed to talk about violence here, we're going to sleep here today. But let's focus on domestic violence, violence in home and all that. So I just received information that Mr. Pena is here with us. So you just join us to start the thank you very much. Please join us.
I feel like, especially in a country like ours, that the internet penetration rate is not as high. Most of what is consumed in this country is through media, traditional forms of media. You have radio, you have TV, and so on. So I feel like we as a community, especially the media, need to have programs that make sure that they highlight or speak against such ills. I feel like the society in which we live in just tolerates certain things. It only becomes headline news when the victim is no longer available to defend themselves. We've broken families, not only the nuclear family that is concerned, but the extended family. And as we spoke about the vicious cycle earlier, when you highlight just the extremities without talking about the things that lead to those extremities, you're minimizing it, and people don't pay attention. People don't talk about it enough. You know, it's on so many levels. I'm going to touch a little bit on the governmental level. I was a photographer at a wedding, a civil union, and I'm standing there. My job is to take photographs, but I cannot concentrate because the mayor constantly tells the woman, if your husband beats you, stay. That's Nasud. I will not lie to you, madam. That is how the society is, and it's a woman, and I'm confused. Yeah. So I feel like we pick and choose. I mean, we as a society, especially those in positions of power, pick and choose when we want to be concerned, and it doesn't work that way. If you want to be against gender-based violence, speak on it, especially those of us who are in positions of power, including the media.
How do you think that, as a creator like yourself, what role can you play to sensitize the public, to sensitize your audience, to sensitize the general public, the media, on the importance of combating domestic violence?
Thank you very much for this question. As content creators, I think this is one of the reasons why we hold platforms, to be able to project some of these realities and provide ways through which people can walk out of situations like that, come up with contents that tackle GBV, you know. I think not just with Smarty, I've equally been a victim of gender-based violence, and I came out of it. So I think content creators should consider this as a very sensitive thing and create content around it, and also show women how to empower themselves and how to walk out of violent situations. Do tags, go on Twitter, do a post, create content, do videos on TikToks. Yeah.
I remember I shared this is the last time probably say. I have a cousin who was she was a university graduate, but somehow she fell in love with a panel beater, and this is not an insult to panel beater. They don't know how a university graduate fell in love with him. And yeah, I just did not know. She did not have a car. So how did it? And instead of beating his panels, she became one of it, one of the medals. And I got involved. One time when she was being beaten, I was called by a neighbor. And I got the police involved. When they took her, she was just a vegetable there. We locked the guy up and took her from the house. While we were in the house with her, she began cooking pepper soup to visit him. He get real nice pepper soup with chocolate. Yeah. And when I spoke to her, when I went there, she was like, she did not ask me to love her. Yeah. This abuse had already manifested itself, I'm sure, emotionally, before it gets this physical. Why did she not greet me? I say, the girl said, when they had that their little disagreement, I advised her to leave me. So they chose long spoon. Because your friend don't get interest. The next time she was being beaten, she did not have somebody to call. But I'm sure she knew that she could call me. And so she did. I went there. She's no longer with him. But that's to say that we don't give up on victims of domestic violence as much as we don't give up on victims of addiction.
and been the journey. And I think that passionately we are just from blood supposed to be youth advocates to the challenges we all are equally causing or facing. I've worked with youths for quite a long time. From my childhood days, I happen to have worked in Sega where I got to meet with one of the great minds seated here, which I don't take for granted. I am privileged to be among these change makers because you will not know the contributions you are doing in your little corner. But I see the persistency it's going to build what the tomorrow we envisage has to be. Mr. Pinda is a chaplain. I'm a graduate from NASLA, which means that if we want to talk violence, I want to look at it from the corporate level with a lot of humility. But as a child who has grown in different quarters to see this happen in quarters, we have hand-on-deck information we can share with either being victims in one way or the other. Because that's what sometimes we feel same, that we ourselves have contributed or cooperated in victimizing some people in one way or the other. And in conversations like this, thank God it is like an inside meeting to talk about leaders who kind of contaminate the rest with the information, so we have to be sincere to ourselves. I'll not want to talk too much because I was asked to introduce. So it's Mr. Pinda, a chaplain and graduate from NASLA, and a passionate advocate to see change for the youths, and especially the women, whom I have always had a lot of respect for. And I feel that with what is happening, they are gaining their grounds.
Also, creating my Marie was literally, I'm listening to the beat, I got the beat first, and I'm listening to the beat, and it's putting me, there's an emotion. I'll tell you that my songs come from God, because I cannot explain to you how it happens. In the moment, I have the experience. And also, permit me to say that I will have to turn back to you when I'm done, because I would really like to hear your story, just like I would like to share mine. But I have the experience, but in that moment, when I have a beat and I'm about to write, it comes from God. I just start singing, and the first thing that came out of my mouth was, Mama, Mama, if it's you say, I will ever. Papa, if it's you say, I will ever. Oh. So in that moment, the whole part wasn't even there. I'll tell you, I was in the studio when I came, but that was all I could sing was, Mama, Mama, if it's you say. But I knew it was in the terms of love. I feel like the addiction part he spoke about, domestic, staying in a relationship is an addiction. Yeah. Because you get that, you know, those endorphins that come in once your loved one texts you. There are people that, you know, you have a crush on, and then once they text you, see their name pop up, and you feel so happy. You get that mini release, and then you get the butterfly. So the release is what we keep going back for, that drug. That hello, hi baby, that in the morning, that part that you forget, that in the night is something else. So you keep going back to that. It is an addiction. So when I was singing that part, it was me crying out in terms of love. Because like I said, I have faced severe emotional abuse. I have been with narcissists. You might even, I mean, I know that all girls call every guy a narcissist. I swear, this was a narcissist. I don't have a doctorate, but I saw the signs. This was a narcissist. So, and my friend is right here, my best friend. She's right here. She's always everywhere. Like, you don't see me without seeing Adamma. So she can vouch that she told me many times. She stopped talking. Didn't she stop talking? She stopped talking. So she was like, I think at one point she was just like, yeah, okay, yeah, you guys are okay. I noticed.
What's the other story?
Oh, my story. Well, I am very proud actually to talk about that story because it's my past and I overcame that. in entertainment, as a woman in showbiz, I've experienced different forms of violence. But let me just focus about the emotional violence and the physical violence I went through. I was almost at the verge of getting married. Like, I'm sure my boy knows about the story. Yeah, I have some people who know about the story. It was, I think you know about, that's my classmate. So I was this close to getting married to a guy who violated me countlessly. But I was still in that relationship because I felt like I was at a point where I felt like my entire life and existence depended on him and his family. Coupled with the fact that the mother knew how vulnerable I was at the time. I had lost both of my parents. I was maltreated in my home. So I was looking for where I could get closure. Yes. And that family and my then fiancé was like my comfort zone. So anything they throw at me was like okay for me, you know. I kept taking, and when he asked to get married to me, I accepted because I felt like, okay, I needed to get closure somewhere. Back here in the house, I'm not getting it. So maybe if I get married and I move over to his place, I will. They would violate me with words. They would make me feel so down. They would belittle me with words and make me look like, I don't know how, like I had lost my self-respect, I had lost self-esteem, and I was just like a pawn that they were manipulating. He beats me, he tortured me emotionally. Sometimes when I explain, when they ask me to do something, and I say, I don't think I can do it because my family won't. In our culture as Bangla people, if you're not fully, if the dowry has not been fully paid on you, you're not supposed to move over to a man's place. So I think this was one thing that always brought that tension between us, because they were asking me to move over to their place for one reason or the other. And when I said, okay, now my brother whom I was living with will not permit me, it becomes a problem. Like, and we're even doing you a favor. Back then in the house, what are they doing for you? If you go to Kumbana before going back, we will give you pocket allowance, I will give you stuff like that. And you know, those were the things they were always using to manipulate me. I kept taking. And when he even asked to marry me, I thought about it, I prayed, I said, God, what should I do? I was in a very confused state, so I accepted. We shared invitation, we're this close to getting married, and COVID-19 came. When COVID-19 came, I think that was like a breakthrough for me, because he actually gave me the time to understand myself better, to read more, to understand that this is not actually where I want to be. I am not happy here. I'm not getting I'm not getting the closure in the house. I feel this is worse. Because if I get here, and then I was already into showbiz, but I was not fully into it, but I was still struggling as Caro and copies back then. And he had made it clear that I tell you, just as if I marry you, it's going to stop. Okay, because of the 5,000 and 2,000 was going to be, I was not empowered, I was jobless, you know, I depended solely on him. And to think that the money he will give me will be like 5K, 10K, that's the highest I've received for that guy. But I still felt like that was too much, because I was not working at the time, I didn't have anything. So to me that was a very big deal. When he told me that you are going to stop showbiz, I said yes, and I've discussed it with copies. I said, so when I get married, I'm going to do it. It shows that guy no actually you see no man act, and I go for respect my man to act. My man. So when COVID-19 came, he actually brought me to this place. Like I was exposed. I didn't have the confidence to actually confide in people about what I was doing. Everybody knew I was in the perfect place, the perfect relationship. No. But when COVID-19 came and this thing was getting worse, every time that guy calls, I panic at his voice. This is a man I was supposed to get married to. Yes, if you don't pick his call, if you're taking his call for the second time, are you mad? Where were you? So I was always in a place of fear. I was so scared. And funny enough, I knew fully well this is not good, but I was still getting into it. Yeah. I was still willing to go into it, because at that time I had two options, and I felt like, oh, if my family can be treating me like this, it's better for me to go here. Yeah. So I was so conscious of it. Then I had this thought in my mind that I love him, you know. So I thank God for COVID-19 because it actually saved me. COVID-19 actually saved me. I was like 1 week to my wedding when COVID-19 came and they said no 2 or 3 people are meant to sit in the same stadium. Then, funny enough, I pressured the guy. I said, okay, no problem. Send your brother to come and represent you. Let us sit in our house. It was the person who said no. So I was so naive. I was so stupid. I was so desperate, and that was one thing that held me down for that long. But when COVID-19 came and when all of this happened, I actually no, I didn't even praise the COVID-19. I didn't even praise the COVID-19 because it actually saved me. And I now have the opportunity to talk with some people. I explained to, I opened up everything, and they were like, no, you don't do that. I have a friend of mine now who is in the US, Vanessa. That was one person who walked me through all that phase. Coupled with the fact that I was already into showbiz and had shared invitations. People like DIBENJA, they had invitations to my wedding. So they can't work. It was everywhere. That I was thinking of now, I'll be dragged. People will start saying, I knew she was never going to get married. She's who are you even sure they're actually engaged? I know. I had this fear, all these thoughts in my head. So these were the things that kept me on that spot. But when I opened up to people, I told them about it, and they were like, no, you don't do that. This is abuse. You are being abused. These are 5 different forms of abuse that you're facing. You cannot do that. Don't tolerate it. So I had the guts to text that guy and say, I'm sorry, I don't think I can do this anymore. Wow. And he said he didn't believe it. He said, whatever you're saying, I'm giving you 1 week. That's what I said. I'm giving you 1 week. It's either you're coming, I send my mother to come and pay your dowry, you move to our house in Kumba, or I'm calling it off. I said, you don't need to call it off. I'm telling you. He didn't believe me. I took that decision and I faced a lot of backlash. I was hurt because, again, I felt I loved that guy until I finally made up my mind and said, I don't want to be here, and I left that relationship. Then I began to realize, I wasn't actually in love with him. Like, thank you. I was so much for him. My word was just too much. That guy was supposed to be blessed with one of the most amazing women. And I am so proud of myself for taking that decision, because when I took that decision and I was ready to face the challenges, my career took another phase. My career took another phase, and I give God all the glory. I thank God.
When she was talking, okay, I'm happy that,
I just want to, as a case manager who has been working with GBV survivors for the past 4 years, so I can literally tell you I have stories of survivors of gender-based violence of all the forms, of about 1,001 different stories. I want to appreciate the approaches people take to help, and all of us here are psychosocial first aid supporters, which is very important. But where I want to differ a little with the support you give is that don't try to advise the survivor, because that is where you fail totally. By the time you give a survivor a reason, know that it will turn against you, her, and every other person. So what we do in cases like that, when the survivor comes, they are beating her, yes, what happened? The man was that, okay, so what did you do? Yes, so what do you think you can do to ensure that incident doesn't happen? Don't hurry to tell the person that leave, because they will never leave. One thing is, with the beat, it's not that she's not feeling it. She already has the solution. She knows what to do. She already knows that she can leave, but she just wants time. So give her the reasons, like asking her, let the support come within her, because he or she is more empowered and knowledgeable, more than you would think. You are the supporter and you know and you want to help. So I think that's the little places we failed, and that is why they kept on insisting to stay until when the right time came, they themselves left without you intervening.
I can see a lot of violence are coming from relationships. So how can we promote relationships, like healthy relationships that can prevent this gender-based violence in society? Those are the things that we can tackle at stake, because you can, if you go and say leave or go and report to the police, like what you say here, just out of 100, probably just 20% will definitely go seek for help. So let us educate the society on the various ways to promote healthy relationships.
About how to make relationships, which is what it means. People think they should be in relationship, which is a thing we should debunk. We must not be in relationship.
Mindful of what you tell them, because after that they might still come back and resolve their issues and you'll be seen as a bad person. Yeah, so I find myself in this situation and I don't really know what to tell her. I just keep telling her it's going to be okay, it's going to be fine, but then I don't really know. And she keeps, every day she keeps coming, this is what I'm going through.
Who is providing these services? For how we have shelter. So who is providing these services? In her case, just talk to her nicely that you could get solution from somewhere. And this is the number of a case manager at reach out. I'm free to give you my number is everywhere, even in the GB referral pathway. I don't know why I'm not married because my number is everywhere. Can go.
Apart from hearing, you know that you have somewhere that you can call. I'm partnering with Denis Miki Foundation on this, but apart from Denis Miki Foundation, I myself am standing in as Ulanda behind Momari, but my foundation is called Mother Helen Foundation. And the work of helping people is something that I've been doing since. That's why I sing the music I sing. Apart from that, there's Aura Foundation. They are very, like she said, environmental and child services. That's what they do. But she's very invested every time I'm having this conversation. Every time we're talking about women. So there's help here. Even if you just click, we're gonna put all of the links on here. You can send an email. Like Dr. Elonge also said, you can. There's a reach out www.gbv, right? Alert. GBV. So you can. I'm gonna include all those links, so you can get help that way, and it doesn't end there. Like I said, it's my own money that I will put, but I don't think there's anything that gives me bigger joy than helping someone set up something in their life. Just seeing that. And you cannot help somebody that doesn't want to be helped, but there's no giving up on anyone. Yes. I wish I would. They never give up on me, but you know, that's what happened. However, I grew up and I left.
I no get place for go, who go provide for me, moi, they yesterday.